Hi, I'm Ashley March and I work at the Museum of London as the Learning Department's digital specialist, and I'm here to talk to you about intermediate scale live streaming. Intermediate streaming, to my mind, involves using software to get a bit more control over how your stream looks and sounds, gives you a few more creative options, and more flexibility to change or upgrade the equipment you're using. To help explain all this, I'm going to use what we've been doing at the Museum of London for schools as an example. We've been doing virtual learning for a long time. We were using e-conferencing equipment to connect live to classrooms more than a decade ago. But in that time that I've been here, the last 3 years, we've been working on one particular approach that allows us to stream varied and engaging live content to a large number of schools at once, and crucially, without relying on any technical help to do it. Here's an excerpt from one of those streams.
Oh, we have fantastic questions. I'm so impressed by these young archaeologists watching. And our first question for you, Kate, is coming from Myatt Gardens Primary School. Was tin a rare material in the Bronze Age?
Well, we had quite a few tin mines in this country, notably Cornwall. So plenty of tin in this country, but it would have had to travel from quite a distance away.
Right, and of course tin is what's used to make the bronze, tin and copper, so they need both minerals, both materials. Okay, great question here from South Bank Primary. Was there any evidence that there was a town nearby to the site?
Basically, it involves two presenters, one a curator or subject expert, the other a host to consider the audience's likely knowledge and needs, giving live object demonstrations, introducing pre-filmed content like gallery tours, and delivering a live Q&A where teachers can submit their pupils' questions through text chat and get verbal answers to some of them minutes later. I feel like the quality we can achieve now is pretty good. I've produced more than a dozen streams like this on a range of different topics, and on average they reach more than 500 students each time. And I really want to stress, I am not a streaming expert. I've learned about it on the job, through practice, Googling and getting good advice. Anyone can learn this. It all comes down to plugging one thing into another. So, what is our approach? At the centre of it is a powerful computer. Just do the best you can here. Most of ours were delivered on a Surface Pro, running live streaming software, as I mentioned earlier. We use a program called OBS. It's open source, free, and a kind of industry standard, so there are plenty of tutorials and Q&As to help you online. It's highly recommended and flexible too. In fact, I'm using it right now to record myself for this video. In essence, you can plug things into your computer like webcams or microphones, or locate files saved on it like images or videos and add them as sources in OBS. You can then switch between them at the click of a button to determine what your audience can see and hear. Here's a scene change done this way, for example, switching from a pre-filmed video to a live camera setup.
Well, we've got lots of great questions coming in, Mariel, and we are going to start with a question.
You just need to connect OBS to whatever streaming platform you want to use, e.g. YouTube, Facebook or Vimeo, by getting what's called a stream key, effectively a password that's unique to your specific account, from the platform and popping it into OBS. Then you can click Start Streaming and go live. Some settings you control in OBS, like video resolution and sound volume, while others you control in the streaming platform itself, like privacy settings and scheduling. But between the two, you can customize a lot about your stream if you want to, or just keep settings at default and go nowhere near them. There's still plenty in it that I don't understand, and that's fine. Quick note, I am not going to go into the pros and cons of different streaming platforms here because of time and because the landscape has changed quite a lot in the last year, and that pace of change will probably continue. Sorry about this, but suffice it to say, I suggest doing your research carefully before making your mind up which platform to stream on. So, what other things do we need for an intermediate scale stream? I'll say it before I forget. A network connection, an Ethernet cable, or whatever you need to get your streaming computer a physical connection to the internet rather than using Wi-Fi. It's vital for improved speed and reliability in most cases. You might be sharing quite a lot of data. Right, let's talk video and audio. It's up to you how expensive or complicated to make this equipment. It could range from inbuilt laptop, camera and mic to big budget professional grade gear. For video, my department has two options. A Logitech C922 HD webcam worth under £100 that we can plug straight into the computer via USB, and our quality department camera, a Panasonic Lumix GH5, which, because it's not specifically designed for use as a webcam, requires an unofficial power adapter, an HDMI lead, and a device called a capture card to process the video into a format the computer understands, which all costs around 2K in total. If I were you, I'd try a high-grade webcam first. Now, audio. Again, we have different options. We have a Samsung UB1 boundary mic, around £100, that we can sit on the table in front of the presenters and plug straight into the streaming computer via USB cable. And we have 2 quality DPA discrete microphones we can clip to our presenters' collars as lapel mics and use a borrowed wireless mic system to connect to an M-Track audio interface that plugs into the streaming computer. So setting up lapel mics is more complicated but noticeably better. It avoids bangs and scrapes if the table is nudged and is better at excluding background noise. Also, we've learned that it's good to set up a screen showing your presenters what OBS is outputting so they can make sure they're properly in the camera frame and they can see when they're live or about to go live. It's just a matter of plugging a screen into your streaming computer and positioning it just below your camera so that if your presenters are looking at it, they're close enough to looking at the camera for the audience to feel like they're looking at them. This seems to make most presenters more comfortable too, seeing how they appear in almost real time, knowing all this tech is working okay. Now, content. Of course, this must be shaped by the specifics of your streaming project. Things like format, tone and duration should all be worked out based upon your objectives and your intended audience. For example, our live streams for Key Stage 1 pupils, 5 to 7 years old, are really pushing it at 45 minutes long, while sometimes we'll stream for a full hour to Key Stage 2, depending on the subject and the response we've been getting from schools. Here are a few other things we've learned. Build interactivity in. Our Great Fire live stream for Key Stage 1 features a 17-minute long video tour. That is a long time, but we only get positive feedback about it because it's well-paced, varied, and it's never long before the audience are asked to do something, often physical. Here's an example.
So this is like a huge syringe. Mm-hmm. So you put the pointy end in a bucket of water and then you pull the handle out to suck the water up.
Yes.
And then you aim it and you push the handle in and the water squirts out.
So that's like a huge water pistol sort of thing. Exactly. Why don't you have a go with your far squirt? Soak up the water, aim, whoosh.
Add an opening sequence to build excitement. The one we use is a cool animation I found in a previous project with some free music from YouTube Studio Audio Library played over the top. BBC Live Lessons gave me the idea, and I think there's plenty more that we can learn from Kids TV. Don't sit on a still slide. Animate. I went on Alex Digital Futures training session on producing video content, and that was enough to get me making basic videos and text animations using the free program HitFilm, which I'm still using years later. I highly recommend looking at Alex training sessions and videos. Anyway, what it's enabled me to do is to bring our live stream sessions to life a bit more. For example, don't say we'll be back in 10 minutes, add a timer. And if you're going to add a timer, make it look good. And if you're going to make it look good, why not add a cheeky comment or image to raise a smile or help the audience think about the topic of your stream. There's a lot more that can be said, but I don't want to overwhelm you with information. Here are some other things you need to think about when running an intermediate scale stream. Moderation, marketing, sign-up process, evaluation, lighting, acoustics, set dressing. There's a lot you can work on. The two main things I'd like you to take away from this video are you can achieve high quality without loads of money or advanced skills, and start simply and gradually build your streaming model closer to your ideal. It's an iterative thing. You'll get better, and you are definitely going to make mistakes. Just keep going. Thanks, and I hope this has helped.